Hi. Today, I wanted to talk about something from Chapter 2 in Interpersonal Communication. This chapter is all about how we see ourselves and how we see other people. To start off, perception is basically the way we understand the world around us and the people in it. It's not just about what we see with our eyes, but also about how our brain makes sense of what we notice. The book also talks about self concept, which is basically the picture we carry in our mind about who we are. Our self concept can change the way we see other people. For example, if I think of myself as shy, I might think someone else is shy too, even if they really aren't. Another part I thought was interesting is how we make first impressions. The book says people usually form an opinion about someone really fast, sometimes in just a few seconds. These impressions can feel very strong, but they aren't always correct. When I think back, there have been times when I judged someone too quickly, and later I realized I was totally wrong once I got to know them better. The chapter also explains stereotypes. Stereotypes are like mental shortcuts that our brains use to try to understand people faster. But even though they save time, they can often be wrong. For example, you might think someone is unfriendly just because they look serious, but really, they could just be tired or having a rough day. I think this matters because if we know about stereotypes, we can try harder to be fair and not jump to wrong ideas about people. While I was reading, I started asking myself a question. How much of what we notice in other people is really true, and how much of it comes down to our own self concept? In other words, do we actually see people the way they are, or do we mostly see them the way we already see ourselves? Overall, I think learning about perception and self concept is really useful. It can help us make our communication with other people better and more honest. If we remind ourselves that our first impressions might not have always been right, we can pause and give people a real chance before we decide who we think they are. Thanks for listening.